All right. Today on the Franklin Community High School Career Exploration Project, we have with us Josh Terpak, and he is the rotational technician at Endress and Hauser, which is a well, Josh. Why don't you just explain what rotational technician is, what Endress and Hauser is, and then kind of how you got this position and anything that may have helped you before that.
Okay, so I'll get into the rotational technician portion. It's basically it's a 7 to 9 month program that E&H Hauser throws you into when you first start working here. It's designed for people who are fresh graduates out of college or fresh out of a different industry. In my case, the Navy. And they basically expose you to all sectors of the company. There's like you go into tech support, you go into field service, repair. So I guess it would help if I explained what E&H is first. They're an instrumentation company, and that doesn't make any sense either until you know what instrumentation is. There's a whole bunch of things. So imagine like you're in a company and you're measuring oil or stuff that flows through, or you're doing batches for your cooking recipes, making cookies, making beer, whatever. You have to measure how much of each ingredient goes into that. We use certain instruments for that, like that measure flow, the density, the weight, the pH, and so we sell those instruments and also help customers troubleshoot those instruments.
Yeah, it's Endress and Hauser, I think, is so. This is my second year here, and I found out what Endress and Hauser was last year. And so the program you've described is it seems like right up Endress and Hauser's alley. I mean, it's just they could take anyone from anywhere and put you in a place where it helps you succeed. And it's just it's an amazing company, and it's kind of a worldwide company. So I guess what's it been like so far working there, and some of the built-in benefits that you see?
So working at Endress and Hauser, it's super amazing. I've had an incredible experience. I've had jobs before being in the Navy. I worked an office job on a communications team because I got my degree in communications thinking that would be awesome, and then got into the office and I absolutely did not like it. But being here, I haven't met a single person that hasn't been like willing to help, or maybe it's the Midwestern hospitality that I've heard of. But it's just a completely different experience here. And everybody, like, I don't have an engineering degree, but almost everybody here does. But I expected engineers to like be a little haughty, like a little bit arrogant, looking down at me from the tip of their nose. But they've all been really, really awesome. The benefits are incredible. We have a clinic on site where, like, if you are feeling ill or something, you just swing on down, and we have a licensed nurse practitioner who just takes care of you right there. And then 401k matching up to 6%. I know like all of these don't matter too much when you're in high school, but once you get a little bit older,
yeah, that's the big stuff right there. You hear, I tell you, I hear 401k matching 6%. I'm like, that rings a lot of bells for you.
Yeah, that is huge. That's amazing compared to any other company I've heard of.
Yeah. So I went there last year for we're starting a program there, and that the biggest benefit to me is that cafeteria. That cafeteria is.
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, I don't even know how. Like, I would weigh 250, and I would have no paycheck if I worked there.
Well, the cool thing is you get a lunch for $3.50.
And that's a good lunch.
Yeah, it's an incredibly good lunch. It's like, I'd rather eat lunch here than ever cook again in my entire life.
Yeah. So you mentioned the Navy. You mentioned your degree in communication. What kind of education and training have you had up until this point?
So going into the Navy, I had absolutely no training. I thought I knew everything. I thought I was hot stuff. And then I went to college for the first semester, and they told me I owed them $10,000 or I couldn't continue to the next semester. I was like, I guess I'm not all that great. So I went in with virtually no training into the Navy, and then I got received training as a technician for specifically sonar equipment, which is basically listening to devices that listen to sounds in the water and send out sounds in the water, so we can do some underwater tracking of submarines. And then I did that for 4 years. It wasn't super extensive training, but it was good training for someone who didn't know anything. And then after that, I got training in a completely different sector than what I'm doing right now. And that's the cool thing about E&H is that they want diverse perspectives. Mm-hmm. And like, it doesn't matter to them that I'm not super technical. I don't have a bunch of experience as a technician. I came into this and I told Justin, my boss, from the get-go, like, there are a lot of dudes that are smarter than me. There are a lot of dudes that a lot of people that can get the job done way more effectively than I can. And he said he doesn't look for that. He looks for people who are good with people. And so those soft skills, they're super important. So yeah, and then I got a degree in communication and got an office job, hated that. So there's this boot camp through Rockwell Automation. That's another company in Milwaukee, and they're also in Cleveland, that creates automation solutions for industries. Mm-hmm. And they have a program specifically for veterans. It's like a 3-month boot camp where you go to school every weekday for 8 hours, and they teach you about everything industrial automation. And then out of that program, I was introduced to Justin, and then got a job here.
So where are you from?
I'm from Colorado originally.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now with Endress and Hauser, do you have the opportunity now, or will you at some point, if you want to further your education, to go back and maybe get your engineering degree, or is that something that they offer for you?
They do. It's like tuition reimbursement.
Yeah.
And I think it's up to $5,500 a year. And what's cool about E&H is that they sit down with you at the beginning of every year, ask you, what do you want to accomplish? Let's set a goal for 3 years and set a goal for this year. And like at the end of this year, what do you need to do in order to believe that you had a successful year? And then if you tell them that you want to go back to school, get a master's degree, or go get an engineering degree, they're fully supportive. And then like they'll walk you through the process of getting tuition reimbursed, and then like explore other ideas, see if that's actually what you want to do or what you need to do. At this point, like for me, getting an engineering degree, I would like to, but I really don't think it would help much. Mm-hmm. As far as like it wouldn't increase my pay very much, because at this point, I guess like the engineering degree is nice to get your foot in the door, but once you're here, you're like, even the engineers, they learn none of this in school. It's a bunch of different concepts, and so it's how well you can learn and interact with people and create meaningful relationships once you're in the work environment.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the industry you're in right now, what are some of the pros you like about it? Obviously, the great company you work for. And do you have any cons? Anything you don't like? I know you're relatively new, so there may not be anything you totally see, but anything maybe people have told you or something like that that may be considered like a little bit of a negative.
Yeah, I talk to a lot of people around here, and they keep saying that each company has their cons, and like they refer to cons about the company, but I just don't know what they are. Like, because I guess I'm still fresh. I've been here since mid-November, and it seems really awesome. But the pros, I don't know. So for me, I have a hard time with attention span. I get bored of things really quick. If I'm not being challenged, I like seek other challenges, and I wasn't always like the best in the classroom because because you had to keep my attention because I had a short attention span. And what's nice about this is that I'm in tech support right now, which is we receive phone calls and troubleshoot on the phone. And I would have thought that I would have absolutely hated that. Like, that does not sound fun at all, but it's super challenging, which is nice. And so you come in, and once the phone calls start coming in, guys who are like 30, 40, 50 years of experience in the field, and they're like, hey, I need help with blah, blah, blah. And you're thinking, like, you probably know way more about this than me, but you have to go find solutions and just like chat with them, keep them occupied while you're like furiously searching through manuals. And so it's like, so that could be nice for some people, other people not so much. High pressure situations, it's a lot of like pressure in tech support. And then also in field service, where I'm planning on going on, you're literally going into a plant. There's a plant manager. It's like, my stuff is broken. I have to get it up by tomorrow morning. Otherwise, I'm aced. And you're like, okay, that's a lot that's resting on my shoulders. But I enjoy those situations. That's so that could be a pro or a con. The other pros for working like my specific job is that like every day is going to be different. Like, you're not going to see the same thing every day. So if you like routine, it's not the career to go to. But if you like novelty,
yeah. So as far as personality types and people going into kind of this industry, what would be good, and what person do you think wouldn't be maybe necessarily as successful in this role?
So we have a couple of different personality types, and I'm not sure. The most recent personality scale I've been exposed to was like, have you heard? It's like BEST or something like that. There's like bold, empathetic, technical, and I don't remember what the other one. I've heard like 3 or 4 different kinds, but so here, if you're technical, see, what's cool about E&H is that they use each personality type effectively and properly. I think the most successful or the easiest to adapt to this environment would be the extroverted, like easy, and like you talk to people, it's easy for you to relate with one another, have conversation, just coke and joke. But if you're a super technical person, like you like the details, and you're not much for chit chat, you like to dig in by yourself into a problem and figure it out on your own. There are a couple of people in tech support who are like that. They just show up to work early. They don't talk to anybody. They just zone out in their work, and they're happy that way. That's a hard thing to answer, because E&H, or I guess our department, my boss tries really hard to accommodate for like the type of person that you are. And we have like production centers where we create the instruments for some of those more technically minded people. And we also have HR, which is a rotation that I could slip into if I was interested in that, for the extreme extroverted, extreme introverted. And then in the middle, it's just a matter of like where you feel most comfortable. And there are places for those people as well.
Yeah. So with preparing for this career, how do you think someone would do that? And then also, what like, you prepared a little bit differently, obviously, with your career in the Navy. How would someone else prepare for that?
So while in high school, I guess the best path forward would be, we have an apprenticeship program that you mentioned earlier. And so you just apply for that online. We're looking for 2 high school students right now, I think. And then it's like every single week you'll work a couple of hours here under different departments. You'll get to know people. And then that's pretty much like a guaranteed job once you're done with the apprenticeship program. Yeah. It's like after 2 years. Another option is, I'm not sure, I just moved here, so I don't know what it's called, but there's a technical college nearby where you can get like a 2-year engineering degree.
Ivy Tech?
Exactly. So there are a lot of people here from Ivy Tech. That's another route.
So the apprenticeship program runs through Ivy Tech, and then they would get their degree in advanced manufacturing through Hauser. So actually, Nicole and Robert are coming here to talk at the end of February to our kids about the apprenticeship program, because they came last year too. It's such an amazing program.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. You know more about it than I do. I've just seen like the sign up page for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's an opportunity to get into E&H. Another is just getting your 2-year engineering degree. If you have a 4-year engineering degree, you're pretty much guaranteed a job unless you can't have a conversation. Literally, there's some weird stuff you have to do for the interview, like record a video of you introducing yourself. But once you start talking with Justin, literally, he's just looking for someone who'll have a conversation with him. He doesn't care about your GPA. None of that. He just wants to know. He wants to enjoy the conversation with you in the interview, which is all that it is. And then you're hired if you have an engineering degree. Otherwise, you can. There's a guy who emailed my boss directly and said, "Hey, I'm really interested in this position. Here's my experience." And then Justin was like, "Hey, that's really cool." And he gave him an interview, and the guy's getting hired once he's done with what he's doing. I think he's going to start working here in next January, but that's another route that I never expected to work.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I think what you're kind of looking at in Hauser, it seems like, is just people who are open to learning, taking chances, and you can kind of do the rest if you've got the right people around you.
Exactly. And Justin always talks about curiosity. If you're a curious person, you're going to be just fine here. You're going to fit in extremely well.
Yeah. Okay. So last question here, just some general advice for high school students. Maybe something you wish you knew when you were in high school, or just something as someone who's out of high school now that you can tell high school students.
This is a tough one. I remember I struggled a lot in high school. I struggled with like expectations and like trying to live up to what everybody else wanted from me. I guess the best advice I could give is to trust yourself. Like take a second to think about what you really want from life, and not what like maybe your parents are telling you that you have to go to college. There are a lot of opportunities through trade schools or through the military. If that's not the route for you, you can be extremely successful, especially with like how everybody's been going to college and now no one's in these trades. The reason why I'm here right now is because no one's getting into like the industrial automation sectors. So a lot of the guys are about to retire. Anyway, do what you want to do. Don't let expectations force you into a mold. College isn't the best route for everyone, but it is the best route for some people. If you're excited about college, definitely do it. Once you get to college, there are ways to pay for it. I use like debt as an excuse, but there's so many scholarships and people who are like those counselors, the financial counselors are there to help you try to figure out how to pay for college. So everything is possible. Just make sure it's what you want to do. I think that's the best advice that
that's great advice. I mean, you've got to do what you want to do and what's going to make you happy, and it's okay to jump around a little bit too. So
absolutely.
Josh, thank you so much for doing this and for joining us. We really appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you for getting this project together. I really think it's awesome.
Oh, thank you. So once again, Josh Terpak-Rotational Technician at Hauser, and that is obviously going to change as you get through the program and they'll build you up. But once again, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anyone has questions, you can point them in my direction.
Absolutely.
And then I'll answer anything.
All right. Well,